Almost a quarter of consultancy companies rely on an intuitive model to position their clients within their specialized domain. There's a problem with that. Intuition works differently for everyone. During the last 15 years, I've interacted with thousands of professional services organizations, and every time I talk to them, they all share with me the same thing. We are unique. We are the only ones doing what we do. I'm talking about companies in different industries: education, consulting, finance, technology services. Still, I'm sure customers sometimes find it hard to differentiate offer from company A to company B. Now, the challenge here is, how is your team communicating that to the outer world? Are you engaging in those first conversations with prospects in an unstructured way, collecting information and making recommendations based on experience and intuition to demonstrate that their status quo can improve dramatically if they work with you? Is this method scalable? And even if you scale, how can you ensure that all the people in your team are assessing in the same way regardless of experience and personal motivations? What would have a greater impact? A document that briefly describes a list of things that can be improved? Or an actual quantifiable diagnostic that allows both you and your client to identify where the gaps are and the value that you and your team can create by providing your services, regardless of who within your team is in charge of the project? Bias is real, and the lack of knowledge sharing is an issue. Our most recent study showed that 3 out of 5 consultancy companies believe that expertise resides in the minds of consultants and that it is not sufficiently shared with colleagues. In previous videos, I have explained how maturity assessments and needs assessments are powerful tools to generate demand. But today, I'm taking it one step further. What if you could digitize your offering and achieve that ideal scenario of nonlinear growth? Yes, the same one that allows you to grow without going crazy about your headcount. At Pointerpro, we strongly believe that every professional services company should bundle its expertise into a quantitative model as a step towards offering digitized services. Let's talk about what that looks like. The first one, measure the client's current and desired performance. So instead of sharing a qualitative description of where they are based on your evaluation, you could share with them a score. A score that takes into account different categories, skills, and that allows them to perceive where they are inside their improvement ladder, but at the same time, allows them to see how far back they are when compared to their ideal state. It sounds like this. As a customer, you scored 46 out of 100, so let's work together to get you to a score of 75 in the next 3 months. Second, compare the performance with industry benchmarks. As an expert, you can share how they stack up against the industry by comparing their score against benchmarks that you know of because of available external research, or because you have done this so many times that the results you have collected through the years allow you to do so. If the client scores above, they will experience a sense of achievement. But if the opposite happens and they score below, this will act as a nudge to do the necessary to meet at least what the industry expects of them. Sounds like this. As a customer, you scored 46, but other companies in your industry score an average of 65. Third one, advice on how to reach the desired performance. This is the moment you have been waiting for, giving them advice on how they can reach the desired performance. The great thing about doing this based on a quantitative model is that you can reassure your client that bias has been reduced substantially and that your recommendation strictly follows the guidelines defined within the model. It would sound something like this. Mr. Customer, to improve your score in the 3 categories in which you scored the lowest, we suggest you do A, B, and C. This should increase your score to 80 and place you on the last ladder of the maturity model. Doing all these 3 things will enable your professional services company to go from traditional services to digitized services and ultimately reach the nonlinear revenue growth model that no longer depends on headcount increase. In the long term, this model should be transformed into a state-of-the-art digital tool that delivers personalized advice based on input from your customer.